7 Secrets to Successful Business Negotiations. In the intricate dance of modern commerce, negotiation stands as one of the most critical skills that separates extraordinary business leaders from the merely competent. Every day, countless deals are made and broken based on the negotiation abilities of the parties involved. Whether you're a startup founder seeking investment, a sales executive closing enterprise deals, a procurement manager securing favorable contracts, or a CEO navigating merger discussions, your negotiation prowess directly impacts your organization's bottom line and future trajectory. The traditional view of negotiation as a zero-sum game, where one party's gain equals another's loss, has become increasingly outdated in our interconnected business ecosystem. Today's most successful negotiations create value for all stakeholders, strengthen long-term relationships, and establish foundations for future collaboration. This shift from adversarial to collaborative negotiation reflects broader changes in how business is conducted in an era where reputation, relationships, and repeat business often matter more than any single transaction. The stakes have never been higher. In a hyper-competitive global marketplace where information flows freely and alternatives are readily available, your ability to negotiate effectively can determine whether your organization thrives, stagnates, or fails. The most successful companies consistently demonstrate superior negotiation capabilities across all levels of their organization, from individual contributor roles to C-suite strategic discussions. 1. Prepare like your success depends on it, because it does. The axiom, proper preparation prevents poor performance, applies nowhere more forcefully than in business negotiations. The most successful negotiators spend considerably more time preparing than they do in actual negotiation sessions. This preparation extends far beyond knowing your own objectives and constraints. It requires developing a comprehensive understanding of the entire negotiation landscape. Research your counterpart's business history, financial performance, recent developments, and strategic initiatives. Analyze their industry position, competitive pressures, and market challenges. Study their previous negotiation patterns and decision-making processes. This intelligence gathering isn't about gaining unfair advantage. It's about understanding their perspective so thoroughly that you can identify mutually beneficial solutions others might miss. Understanding organizational dynamics is equally crucial. Who are the real decision makers? What approval processes must be navigated? Are there internal politics or competing priorities that might influence their position? Sometimes the person across the table has less authority than they appear to have, and understanding these dynamics prevents wasted time and misdirected efforts. Develop multiple scenarios with corresponding strategies. Your preparation should include your ideal outcome, several acceptable alternatives, and your absolute bottom line. Create decision trees that map out various paths the negotiation might take, with prepared responses for each scenario. This mental modeling allows you to respond confidently to unexpected developments while maintaining strategic focus. Your best alternative to a negotiated agreement, BATNA, deserves special attention. A strong BATNA provides negotiating power because you can afford to walk away from inadequate offers. Conversely, understanding their likely BATNA helps you assess how much leverage they actually possess. Often, parties overestimate their alternatives, and gentle reality testing can shift negotiation dynamics significantly. Technical preparation includes gathering supporting documentation, market data, comparable transactions, and expert opinions that substantiate your position. However, avoid overwhelming counterparts with information. Instead, strategically deploy data to support key points and overcome specific objections. The goal is to be thoroughly prepared without appearing overly aggressive or academic. 2. Listen more than you speak. In our communication-saturated world, the lost art of deep listening provides tremendous negotiation advantages. Most people prepare what they want to say rather than focusing on what they need to learn. However, The most valuable negotiation insights come from careful attention to what others reveal about their priorities, concerns, and constraints. Active listening involves multiple layers of attention. Listen to the content of what's being said, but also pay attention to emotional undertones, areas of emphasis, and notable omissions. When someone repeatedly returns to particular points, those issues likely represent core concerns that must be addressed for any agreement to succeed. Similarly, topics they avoid discussing often reveal sensitive areas that require careful navigation. Develop your questioning skills to extract deeper insights. Open-ended questions like, "Help me understand your thinking on that," or "What would ideal timing look like from your perspective?" Encourage expansive responses that reveal underlying interests. Follow-up questions demonstrate engagement while uncovering additional layers of information. Practice reflective listening by periodically summarizing what you've heard and asking for confirmation. This technique serves multiple purposes. It ensures accurate understanding, demonstrates respect for their perspective, and often prompts additional clarification that proves valuable. When people feel truly heard, they become more open to hearing your perspective in return. Pay attention to nonverbal communication as well. Body language, tone of voice, and facial expressions often convey information that words alone cannot capture. Tension, enthusiasm, uncertainty, and confidence all manifest in physical ways that observant negotiators can detect and respond to appropriately. Create space for others to talk by becoming comfortable with silence. Many people feel compelled to fill conversational gaps, and these unguarded moments often reveal the most honest insights about their situation and priorities. Resist the urge to immediately respond to every statement. Sometimes a thoughtful pause followed by a clarifying question yields more valuable information than a quick reply. 3. Focus on interests, not positions. One of the most transformative concepts in modern negotiation theory is the distinction between positions and interests. Positions are what people say they want. Interests explain why they want it. When negotiations become deadlocked over competing positions, skillful negotiators shift the conversation to underlying interests, often discovering creative solutions that satisfy everyone's core needs. This approach requires persistent curiosity about the why behind stated demands. When a client insists on a specific price point, explore what's driving that requirement. Are they working within a predetermined budget, comparing multiple proposals, needing to demonstrate cost savings to stakeholders, under pressure to meet quarterly targets? Each underlying interest suggests different potential solutions. Consider a negotiation where a supplier demands immediate payment while your company requires standard net 30 terms. Position-focused negotiation would involve haggling over payment timing. Interest-based negotiation would explore why immediate payment matters to them. Perhaps they're managing cash flow challenges, seeking to reduce bad debt risk, or operating under bank covenant restrictions. Understanding their interest opens possibilities like early payment discounts, partial prepayments, letters of credit, or alternative payment guarantees. Sometimes interests align more closely than positions suggest. Both parties might share concerns about project success, long-term relationship stability, or market reputation. Identifying shared interests creates collaborative momentum and establishes common ground for addressing areas of disagreement. The process of uncovering interests requires diplomatic inquiry. Direct questions like, "Why is that important to you?" can seem invasive or challenging. Instead, frame your curiosity in terms of problem solving. "I want to make sure we're addressing your key concerns. Help me understand what drives that requirement." This approach positions you as a collaborative partner rather than an interrogator. Document discovered interests throughout the negotiation process. As discussions progress, you'll often identify creative ways to address multiple interests simultaneously, creating value that wasn't apparent when focusing solely on stated positions. These breakthrough solutions frequently emerge from patient exploration of underlying needs rather than rushed compromise on surface-level demands. 4. Master the art of strategic patience. In our instant gratification business culture, patience has become a rare and powerful negotiation asset. While artificial delays frustrate all parties and damage relationships, strategic patience allows natural negotiation dynamics to unfold in your favor. This involves understanding when to accelerate discussions and when to allow more time for consideration and consultation. Rushing negotiations often signals desperation, weakening your bargaining position. When you demonstrate that you can afford to invest appropriate time in reaching the right agreement, counterparts perceive you as more established and less needy. This perception translates into better terms and more respectful treatment throughout the process. Strategic patience manifests in multiple ways. Become comfortable with silence during conversations. Many people feel compelled to fill conversational gaps, often revealing information they hadn't intended to share. Don't immediately respond to initial offers or counteroffers. Taking time to consider proposals signals their importance while creating space for reflection and consultation with your team. However, patience must be balanced with momentum. Negotiations that drag on indefinitely can lose energy and relevance as circumstances change. The key is distinguishing between productive patience, allowing time for proper evaluation and decision-making, and procrastination that serves no strategic purpose. Use timing strategically throughout the negotiation process. Sometimes applying gentle time pressure encourages decision-making when counterparts are overthinking or seeking excuses to delay. Other times, removing time pressure demonstrates confidence and allows relationships to develop naturally. Read the situation carefully and adjust your approach accordingly. Build appropriate buffer time into your negotiation schedule. Last-minute rushes rarely produce optimal outcomes and often force suboptimal compromises. When you have adequate time, you can explore creative alternatives, consult with experts, and make thoughtful decisions rather than reactive ones. Consider the broader timing context as well. Are there seasonal factors, budget cycles, personnel changes, or market conditions that might influence negotiation dynamics? Sometimes delaying discussions until more favorable conditions emerge can dramatically improve your outcomes, while other situations require rapid action to capture limited opportunities. 5. Create value before claiming it. The most successful negotiations expand available value rather than simply dividing existing resources. This abundance mindset distinguishes truly skilled negotiators from those who merely haggle over predetermined terms. Value creation requires creativity, deep understanding of both parties' operations, and willingness to explore unconventional solutions. Start by mapping out each party's assets, capabilities, and needs. Often, what's inexpensive for you to provide is highly valuable to them, and vice versa. These asymmetries in cost and value create opportunities for mutually beneficial exchanges that improve both parties' outcomes without requiring either to make genuine sacrifices. Consider timing as a value creation tool. Perhaps your capacity aligns with their seasonal demands, or their production schedule complements your inventory needs. Flexible timing arrangements can reduce costs for both parties while improving service levels and operational efficiency. Bundling and unbundling services creates additional value creation opportunities. Instead of negotiating individual components separately, consider package deals that provide them with comprehensive solutions while giving you predictable revenue streams. Alternatively, unbundling allows each party to select only the elements they truly need, reducing costs while maintaining effectiveness. Think beyond the immediate transaction to long-term relationship value. Can this negotiation establish frameworks for future collaboration? Are there opportunities to create preferred vendor status, exclusive arrangements, or partnership structures that benefit both organizations over time? Sometimes accepting lower margins on individual transactions builds relationships that generate superior long-term returns. Explore creative financing and payment structures that address both parties' cash flow and accounting needs. Longer payment terms might help their cash flow while generating interest income for you. Performance bonuses align incentives while sharing risks and rewards. Equity participation creates shared upside in collaborative ventures. Consider whether your negotiation can address broader organizational challenges beyond the immediate transaction. Perhaps your training capabilities address skill gaps in their organization, or their distribution network provides access to new markets for you. These complementary strengths become negotiation assets that create significant value while costing little to provide. 6. Use anchoring and framing strategically. The psychological principles of anchoring and framing profoundly influence negotiation outcomes, often in ways that participants don't consciously recognize. Understanding and ethically applying these concepts gives you significant advantages while helping counterparts make decisions that serve their genuine interests. Anchoring occurs when initial information disproportionately influences subsequent judgments. The first number mentioned in salary negotiations, pricing discussions, or valuation conversations tends to anchor all following negotiations around that reference point. However, your anchors must be defensible based on market data, comparable transactions, or objective value calculations. Extreme anchors that lack supporting rationale backfire by damaging credibility and creating adversarial dynamics. Effective anchoring requires careful preparation and strategic timing. Research comparable situations to establish reasonable anchor ranges. Then present your initial position with supporting logic that demonstrates thoughtful analysis rather than arbitrary demands. When counterparts present anchors that don't serve your interests, acknowledge them respectfully while providing alternative frameworks based on different criteria or comparisons. Framing involves presenting information in ways that influence how others perceive and respond to your proposals. Present your offers in terms of benefits rather than costs, opportunities rather than problems, and mutual gains rather than zero-sum outcomes. Instead of asking counterparts to pay more, frame your proposal as investing in higher quality outcomes or ensuring project success through proven approaches. Reframe concessions as investments in the relationship or necessary elements for delivering promised value rather than grudging compromises. This approach maintains your credibility while helping counterparts justify their decisions to internal stakeholders who might not understand the full negotiation context. Use social proof and precedent to strengthen your framing. References to industry standards, comparable deals, or successful similar arrangements provide external validation for your proposals while reducing the appearance that you're making arbitrary demands. However, ensure your comparisons are genuinely relevant. Inappropriate analogies can undermine your credibility. Consider multiple framing approaches for each key point. Then select the version that best resonates with your counterpart's perspective and priorities. Technical buyers respond well to performance specifications and reliability data, while financial decision makers focus on ROI calculations and cost justifications. Tailor your framing to match their decision-making criteria and communication style. 7. Know when and how to walk away. Your willingness and ability to walk away from inadequate agreements represents your ultimate source of negotiating power. This isn't about being confrontational or difficult. It's about maintaining standards that protect your long-term interests and business viability. However, walking away effectively requires careful preparation, clear communication, and strategic timing. Establish your walkaway criteria before negotiations begin, when you can think objectively about your true requirements and alternatives. Define both quantitative thresholds, minimum pricing, maximum risk exposure, required delivery timelines, and qualitative factors like relationship dynamics, reputation implications, and strategic alignment. Document these criteria to prevent emotional decision-making during intense negotiation sessions. Communicate your boundaries professionally and respectfully. Instead of ultimatums or threats, explain your constraints in terms of business requirements and fiduciary responsibilities. For example, I understand your position on pricing, but I have obligations to my stakeholders that prevent me from accepting margins below our cost of capital. Perhaps we can explore other ways to address your budget concerns. Sometimes the threat of walking away becomes a catalyst for improved offers, as counterparts realize you're serious about your requirements. However, never threaten to walk away unless you're genuinely prepared to do so. Empty threats destroy credibility and weaken your position in current and future negotiations. When you do walk away, leave doors open for future opportunities. Business circumstances change, and today's impossible deal might become tomorrow's perfect partnership. Maintain professional relationships even when specific negotiations don't succeed. Your reputation as someone who walks away respectfully becomes an asset that attracts better opportunities and more serious negotiating partners. Develop strong alternatives before entering important negotiations. The stronger your BATNA, the more confidently you can set and maintain high standards. Weak alternatives force you to accept suboptimal deals, while strong alternatives give you the luxury of patience and selectivity. Consider partial walkaways as well. Sometimes you can decline specific terms or requirements while remaining open to modified proposals. This approach demonstrates flexibility while maintaining your essential standards, often leading to creative solutions that address both parties' core needs. Advanced negotiation dynamics. Beyond these 7 fundamental secrets, successful business negotiators must understand several advanced dynamics that influence complex deals. Multi-party negotiations require different strategies than bilateral discussions, as alliance formation and coalition building become important tactical considerations. Similarly, cross-cultural negotiations demand sensitivity to different communication styles, decision-making processes, and relationship expectations. Understanding power dynamics helps you navigate negotiations more effectively. Power sources include alternatives, time pressure, information asymmetries, relationship dependencies, and organizational authority. Recognizing and appropriately responding to power imbalances, whether in your favor or against you, determines how you approach each negotiation situation. Emotional intelligence plays an increasingly important role in modern business negotiations. The ability to read and respond to emotions, both your own and others, often determines whether discussions proceed collaboratively or become adversarial. Managing stress, frustration, and excitement while helping others navigate their emotional responses requires sophisticated interpersonal skills, implementation, and continuous improvement. Developing negotiation expertise requires deliberate practice and continuous learning. After each significant negotiation, conduct honest postmortems that identify what worked well and areas for improvement. Document lessons learned and adjust your approach for future situations. Consider working with negotiation coaches or attending advanced training programs to refine your skills systematically. Build negotiation capabilities throughout your organization rather than relying solely on individual expertise. Develop internal training programs, share best practices, and create support systems that help team members improve their negotiation effectiveness. Organizations with strong negotiation cultures consistently outperform those that treat negotiation as an individual skill rather than a core competency. Conclusion: successful business negotiations require the delicate integration of preparation and adaptability, analytical rigor and emotional intelligence, patience and decisiveness. These 7 secrets work synergistically to transform negotiations from adversarial encounters into collaborative problem-solving sessions that strengthen business relationships while achieving your objectives. The negotiation landscape continues evolving as business becomes more global, complex, and interconnected. However, these fundamental principles remain relevant because they address human psychology and relationship dynamics that transcend specific industries or deal structures. Whether you're negotiating million-dollar contracts or everyday business arrangements, these concepts provide frameworks for creating value and building lasting partnerships. Remember that every negotiation represents an investment in your professional reputation and future opportunities. The relationships you build and the reputation you establish as a fair, prepared, and creative negotiator become assets that compound over time. The goal isn't just winning individual negotiations. It's becoming the kind of business partner others seek out because they know that working with you leads to mutually beneficial outcomes and strengthened professional relationships. Master these principles through consistent application and thoughtful reflection, and you'll find that negotiations become less stressful and more successful. More importantly, you'll discover that effective negotiation skills enhance every aspect of your business relationships, from employee management and vendor relations to customer partnerships and investor communications. In our interconnected business world, negotiation skills represent one of the most valuable and transferable competencies you can develop.